Hi everyone, my name is Julie. This is Keep Calm with Books and Coffee. I talk about books on this channel, mainly books about magic, and if you want to see more of that, you can hit the subscribe button down below. Today, we are going to be doing my October TBR. We're going to be rolling for my TBR game that I run for me. We're going to be trying to pick out my TBR Harvest TBR, and also trying to hopefully mix in enough pile of possibilities for Fablen. So let's get started. Hello everyone. So as I said at the top, we have a lot going on in October. We're doing Margaret's Fablen and Leandra's TBR Harvest. Both of those will be linked down below if you want to check them out for yourselves. But I also wanted to throw in my TBR game this month because it's my birthday month and I wanted to kind of play the game and have a good time with it because I haven't done it for a month now and I was missing it. I was missing doing the bingo board. So I will explain how that works later on down the road, but we were hoping for some good rolls for birthday month reading and you'll get to see that down the line. But like I said, everything will be linked down below for you to check out, and I'm really excited to jump into these TBRs. I'm gonna have timestamps down below for you to, check out because I'm gonna go through my haunted house activity sheet first. I'm gonna tell you my, classification for my character for Fablen second, and then I'm going to show you what I rolled from my personal TBR game. So if you're more interested in one thing or the other, you can skip ahead and jump around. Let's get started. So I have decided to do the haunted house activity sheet for Fablen this month, and I am trying to tackle my physical TBR goals. I'm going to try to choose all of these off of my physical TBR in hopes that at the end of the day, I am reducing my physical TBR and kind of tackling that goal that I have to have my TBR under 80 books by the end of the year. I'm hoping to really take a chunk out of that goal this year or this month and reduce it down pretty far. We'll see how that all works out, but that's the goal. So in this board, we start in the attic and you have to read a prompt in order to get out of the attic and start on another path. So this first prompt is to read for a prompt for another readathon. And for this, I'm going to be using whatever the first Fablen prompt is so that I can get out of the attic really quickly, but I don't know what that is yet because we're going to be finding out as we go along. It's going to be announced at the time. So I don't know what my first read is. So after I get out of the attic, I still have several rooms to get through before I'm out of the house. And for this, I chose a middle of the ground route that I didn't choose the longest or the shortest. I'm kind of in between. I think I have 7 prompts. And the first room I'm going to go through is the bedroom, and this is relating to superstition. And I feel like this is a little bit of a stretch here, but we're going to go for it. And that is You Should Be So Lucky by Cat Sebastian. Now, luck is sort of superstitious anyway, and then baseball is a very superstitious sport. Players are often very ingrained in their routines, their patterns, their superstitions, the things they have to do before a game. So I'm sort of applying that to this. I don't know if that's true in this book, but it usually comes up in stories about baseball. So I'm hoping it will. I have a backup plan if not, but I am excited to get to this. Baseball playoffs are in October. I wanted to fit this in since like I said, I want to try to read another baseball, and I was supposed to read this in July and I just didn't get to it. So we're going to try again with this one. My third room is Staircase, and this is a mood read. And for everything that is a mood read prompt this month, I actually have one for like each TBR. I'm just going to leave this open to interpretation at the time, simply because like I said, I'm participating in a lot of things. I feel like I'm going to have to pick and choose what I'm in the mood for at some point to sort of like give myself a break. So I'm hoping that these will come up at those points, or it's just going to be whatever I'm reading in accordance with another readathon that will get me through this room. So we're leaving this one open at this time. So the fourth room is the theater, a book to film or movie related adaptation. And for this one, I'm choosing Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, which is the first book in the Expanse series. This is on my self-destruct TBR for the end of the year. I really want to read it. I've been putting it on TBRs and lists all year. It's also something that I feel like I can tackle this month since I have the audiobook and I want to get through it. This is also sci-fi, which relates to some Fablen things. So I am very excited for this, and I'm hoping that I will enjoy it because I have been anticipating it for a while now, and it's also one of the oldest books on my TBR. I'm excited. After I get through the theater, I am going into the seance room, which sounds very spooky, and we're going to be reading a book with supernatural vibes. And for this, I'm choosing Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I know this is about murderous mermaids, and that's about all I know. And I'm very interested to see how this goes. I've heard Leandra praise it really recently, and I've been wanting to read it for years. I'm also a big Shauna Maguire fan. I think, as you can tell, over the past couple of years, I've read a lot of her works, and Mira Grant is a pseudonym for Shauna Maguire, so I'm interested to see this side of Shauna Maguire's writing and see if I enjoy it. It also seems perfect for spooky season, so very excited for this one. Then we have another staircase, or I wrote this wrong. I'm not sure. This house is several stories tall, so I'm assuming escape is going to involve a lot of stairs. So the next staircase is under 300 pages, which is great because I just showed you two very chunky books that I'm hoping to read in October, so this one is going to be good. I also have Death in the Spires by KJ Charles. I have this on audiobook. It was a daily deal somewhere along the line right after its release, so I'm excited to get to this. This is another book that I've read a lot of KJ Charles's work, and I've read a lot of her queer historical romance, and this is supposed to be a mystery historical, possibly with a romance plotline. Not 100% sure. I thought it was like pure mystery, but then my bookstore had it shelved with a romance, but I'm not sure if that's because they just shelved it with her other books. It's neither here nor there. This is under 300 pages. It's a pretty quick audiobook. I'm excited to read this. It also seems spooky because it's about like an old murderer and possibly trying to find the culprit like years and years later. It's giving me mystery, but also like, I'm gonna say this, but don't take this as like, it's giving me If We Were Villains vibes, because I read the first chapter when I bought this book, and the character who is like reflecting on the murder was from a group of friends at a college, and one of the friends died. That's all the If We Were Villains vibes I'm getting. Not like the Shakespeare, not the modern times, none of that. Just like the idea of it is giving me If We Were Villains vibes. So I'm excited to see how this version goes, but I don't think it's going to be similar at all beyond that. My final room that I have to, dash through in order to get out of this haunted house is Food on the Cover. So I have two possibilities for this, simply because one I might read before October starts. That is Can't Spell Treason Without T by Rebecca Thorne. This is one that I am hoping to read like in the next week or so, actually, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna get there. Like, I haven't been reading a ton in September, even though, like I said, I'm digging my way out of that reading slump, but we'll just see how it all works out. I haven't been reading super fast. So if I get to this before October starts, then I'm gonna try to use Coffee Dates by Megan Becker for this. And this sounds cute and theatrical, and I'm not sure if it's fall vibes or not, but I want to try it, so we'll see if this works out. But those are my hopefuls for the haunted house activity sheet for TBR Harvest. Like I said, I will have Leandra linked down below, as well as her announcement video for you to check out. This is a pretty chill readathon. It's meant to mix and match with other readathons. I'm doing the haunted house activity sheet, but there's also two more, including one where you search for black cats and try to collect them all before the end of the month, which is also very appealing. But I decided to just contain myself to one, and I love the haunted house activity sheet. It is so spooky and fun. So now we're jumping into Fablen, and I don't have a TBR necessarily for this part, but I did want to tell you what kind of character I'm playing and kind of give you the qualifications that I am going to have, as well as giving you my character's name and some of the host favorites that I am kind of putting on my radar as possibilities for the month, because they're going to be ones that are helpful to you during the game, but they don't necessarily get you extra points or anything like that. So we'll have to see how those work out in terms of everything else, but they will be possibilities for me. So I rolled as part of our live show the other night about character creation. And in that, I got a half orc for my species, which correlates to science fiction. I get 25 extra points for reading science fiction. I got a charlatan, which I have a list of words that if they are in the title, then that will give me 25 bonus points as well. And then I also rolled for the weapon of daggers, which means that sequels get me 25 extra bonus points. And I am a co-host for the Crimson Wardens, and our color is red. So if my covers of my books are red, predominantly red, then we get 25 extra bonus points for that. So there's 4 different ways for you to gain bonus points, and you can stack these as well. These are not required for your TBR. I just tried to fit them in wherever I could for my rolls for my TBR game, so that I could possibly get these extra points. But you can also just read for the prompt and get your page count for your points, but these are just little bonuses. So I've decided to build the character of Vanasha. She is a half orc, carries daggers, all the 9 yards. I haven't come up with exactly a backstory yet for her. I've only known her about 12 hours at this point, so there will be some more storytelling to this. I'm hoping to vlog for the entire month and give you weekly vlogs, so as I discover more about Vanasha, so will you. But that's my plan for now. Then I'm keeping these host favorites on my radar for possibilities if I need them. I also have Leviathan Wakes on my TBR, like I mentioned, but I am putting that on for a purpose, so we'll see if that works out. But right now, these are the ones that are on my radar, and I'm going to research some more of the other ones. But as of right now, these are the ones that are on my TBR, or I have holds already on Libby for, so we'll see how this works out, but these are kind of just the ones that are at the top of my radar. So that's everything I have for Fablen right now, but there will be more, like I said, since the prompts are dropping throughout the month, we will figure that out as we go. But now we are going to get into the rolls for my TBR game. I basically play a like TBR bingo style TBR game. So how the rolling works is that I roll a d20. Numbers 1 to 5 are difficult prompts, prompts that are outside of my comfort zone, not punishment prompts, just ones that I would have a harder time doing or aren't ones that I would want to prioritize. Numbers 6 to 15 are basic prompts. They're the ones that I would typically read for in a month, ones that I wouldn't have any trouble doing, but I want to focus my TBR in some way, shape, or form. And then 16 to 20 are reward prompts, ones that I would really enjoy, ones that are a priority for me, ones that are fun and I'm excited to put on my TBR. I have a mix of like actual reading prompts, prompts about the books I'm going to read, as well as lifestyle prompts, things that I want to challenge myself to do or reward myself with, etc., etc. Lifestyle prompts can also be like self-care things. So that's how the rolls work, and this month was very interesting. It seemed like I was either in a reward or a difficult prompt area, since I've already done the rolls, because I have to, you know, I roll and then I pick the books and then I show you. So I already know how this worked out, and you'll see my surprise several times throughout this with how the rolls went. But yeah, let's jump into it. So right off the bat, these 2 rolls were very nice to start off with, because I got take a night off of reading, which is basically giving myself a break. It's also not a prompt I have to fill at some point in this month, so that was nice too. But this is, I feel a lot of pressure to read during readathons, so this was a way of giving myself a break and giving myself a spot to just kind of be like, take care of yourself, do something different, and don't burn yourself out on a readathon. So that's what that prompt is for. And then free space is fun because that's just, I can put whatever book in there I want. So this is going to go in the center of the board. Usually I put these in order as I roll them, but this will go in the center like a traditional bingo board square. Our third roll was a second book in a series, which is exciting because that is a sequel. And as we talked about for my Fablen character, I get the bonuses for sequels. And for this, I'm choosing The Nobleman's Guide to Seducing a Scoundrel by KJ Charles. This is the second book in this. I'm not sure if this is a duology or it's keeping going or whatever, but it's the second book. So very happy with this one. It's also got a red cover, which is a bonus. So this one is definitely going to be a priority for me next month. Oh my God. The fourth roll was another lifestyle prompt, and this one was to go to a new coffee shop. I talked about this in my original video. I think that this prompt is to sort of make me explore my local area, because I used to do that quite a bit, but I haven't been doing it recently. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a coffee shop, but somewhere new. Try something out, try a new like food place sometime during the month. Then we have recently hauled, and I don't believe this book has been in a book haul yet, so this fits the prompt, even though it's not my most recent purchase, and it is Death in the Spires by KJ Charles. Apparently I'm reading a lot of KJ Charles next month, but this is a pretty recent purchase, and I am excited for it. It also is on another TBR, so I wanted to fit it in, and it's short. So, fun times all around. Then Readathon prompt is actually going to stay open and just be whatever I need it to be at the time. So I don't want to choose, especially ahead of not knowing the Fablen prompts, what this is going to be. So I'm just going to either pick something else or use a book I already have on my TBR. Next up was Reread, and for this I'm choosing The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. Thief or thieves is one of my words for my charlatan classification, so I'm going to be using this book. I also have just restarted my Raven Cycle reread. I tried it earlier this year and it didn't work out, so I am starting it up again. I finished The Raven Boys in September, and I want to read The Dream Thieves in October. It's also very appropriate that I get to read my favorite book in the series during my birthday month. So I'm excited to read this one. It's, like I said, my favorite. Just all worked out for this book to make it onto the TBR. Then we have next on Libby, and this is going to be up to interpretation at the time. I'm not sure when I'm going to fit this in, whether it's going to be right at the beginning of the month that I'm going to have to just choose, or if it's going to be like somewhere down the line when I need a book. But I have to take the next book that Libby gives me off of my holds list. Then we got a not so fun one, but a necessary one in Clear My Weekend Chore List. I have lots of things to do every weekend. I usually make it myself a list of things to get done, and this is just to clear that list and stay on top of my, household chores and whatever. It's just sort of and it's usually not terribly difficult, but it just keeps me on task for like at least one weekend. Oh my God. Then, as I said, Mood Read made it onto a bunch of different places this month. So Mood Read is here. Again, I will just pick and choose this when we get to that point. I'm not sure what I'm going to use for this square yet. Luckily, this happened a number of times this month that there's going to be things that I, have to work out because of the other readathons, but it does kind of give me some empty spots here for you guys at this point. Another lifestyle prompt in Read a Book with Coffee. I drink coffee every morning, and this is always a little reminder to me to kind of slow down in the morning on a day where I can and enjoy my coffee and a good book, because this is Keep Calm with Books and Coffee, so I like to combine them every once in a while. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Then we have a favorite author, and for this one I'm plugging in The Raven Boys again, since this is one of my favorite books. So we're gonna plug The Dream Thieves in right here. I do like to double and triple up these, especially when I have a larger board and when I have so much going on, so you will see me do that a little more as we go along. Okay, all right. Then appropriately, the horror book prompt came up, and for this I'm choosing How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I was hoping to read this fall since I pre-ordered it last year and never got to it, and I really want to get it off my TBR. I'm excited to read it, even though I've heard mixed things about it, and I think it's a horror. I'm not sure if it's suspense or horror, but It's one of the two, and it'll work for this prompt, but I'm excited for this one, and it sounds really interesting and also pretty spooky. Then we have spend 1 sprint watching BookTube. So the dice were actually like pretty kind to me this month because I don't know if they heard it's my birthday or what, but they were actually pretty kind because they gave me a lot of lifestyle prompts. Also, you probably saw I rolled a bunch of nat 20s right at the beginning of this, and I could not believe it. They just kept happening. But this is spend 1 sprint watching BookTube, and this is a good thing for me because it helps me stay on top of my watch later list and keep my friends' videos, you know, keep me on top of those so that I can know what's going on with them, and I'm always excited to see their new content. So this is just to give myself a break and also support my friends. Next was a backlist book, and for this I chose Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. I already put this on my TBR Harvest TBR, and I really wanted to fit it in somewhere here so that it was, you know, in a few different places. So hopefully, since this is on all 3 of the lists, this works out this month. Yeah! Then, as I mentioned at the beginning, Seducing a Scoundrel has a red cover, so we're gonna plug it into this. When this prompt came up, it really made me laugh because it just worked out perfectly that, you know, our team color is red and I got this red cover prompt. Just an extra reason to read this book or a red book if something else works out, but it really made me chuckle. The next prompt was to finish a series, and for this I am choosing The Mistress Experience, the Society of Sirens book, Volume 3 by Scarlett Peckman. This is the 3rd and final book in a romance companion series. I'm really excited to read this one. I've really enjoyed the first 2 books in this series, and I'm excited to see what happens with this one. Then we got the comic prompt, and I haven't had this one yet, I don't think, and for this I'm choosing Batman All-Star, and this is the volume of My Own Worst Enemy. I've had this on my shelf for a couple of years, and I keep meaning to read it. I keep putting it on TBRs in different places and not getting to it, so I really want to get to this one, and it seems like it'll be a fun break from my traditional novels at some point. Then we have a past setting, a setting in the past, and for this, you know, Seducing a Scoundrel as well as the Mistress Experiment would work, so I have a couple of options here, both already on the TBR. Then we have one of the hard prompts, and for this one I have to reduce my TBR by 5 books. Like I said, this month is meant for me to do that, like that's a goal of mine, but then when this came up as well, it was an extra bit of challenge, so we're really gonna try to not acquire too many books, but also read down the books that I already own. Another more difficult prompt for me is to post 2 reviews on Goodreads and Storygraph, and for this I just always forget. I always forget to post reviews of what I've read. I mark them as finished and I walk away. So this is a challenge to me to actually post my thoughts, get it on there as soon as I'm done with the book. A contemporary setting is going to be The Dream Thieves again. I really want to get to this book, so I'm using every excuse I can to get this on the TBR. Then we had fantasy, which I haven't chosen that many fantasies for any of this TBR right now. I say at the beginning of my videos that I talk about magic, but this time it's been a lot of other stuff. So this time I've chosen Come Tumbling Down by Sean McGuire. This is a Portal fantasy series and novellas. which is a point for it. And also I wanted to give myself a little bit of a break of the bigger books that I've been choosing for this TBR, kind of like the Spires book that I talked about earlier, which his names I cannot remember right now. But so just to kind of give myself a break of a book, I chose one of the novellas in this series. This is book 5, I believe. Another hard prompt is a big book of over 500 plus pages, and for this I'm putting Leviathan Wakes on here again because I don't need more than one 500 page books. Into the Drowning Deep might be close, but this one is definitely over 500 pages. And then the last prompt was for me to get new journal stickers for myself, which is always a fun time. And always a welcome prompt because, you know, can I ever have enough journal stickers? Yes, I have plenty, but do I always want more? Yes, also the yes. So those are all of the prompts from my personal bingo board game that I have played. Like I said, I have some open spaces. I have a lot of lifestyle prompts this time. And luckily I was able to kind of cross these across TBRs. Now, will they work out with the Fablen prompts? That is going to be the challenge, but since I have a little bit of historical, a little bit of modern, a little bit of in between, as well as, you know, fantasy science fiction on here, I'm hoping that we will have a little bit of crossover that'll work out. We shall see. But I'm expecting chaos, honestly. I'm just expecting chaos in October. What else would we be doing? But that is it for me today. If you have any thoughts or feelings or want to share anything about the books that I talked about, please let me know down below. Let me know if you are participating in any of these readathons and, you know, what team you've chosen. Please join us on the Crimson Wardens if you're joining Fablen, because it's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time and we're going to win, you know? We're monster hunters over there, and doesn't that sound like the greatest team ever? Anyway, if you aren't feeling chatty and you just want to leave me a emoji down below, choose one of the supernatural creatures. Werewolf, vampire, whatever your pick is. Leave me a supernatural creature down there. You can also like and subscribe while you're down there if you would be so kind, as both of those really help the video out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!